yeah, that's right. The title is actually, when I look at it now, a bit, yeah, inconspicuous, I'd say. And I don't have an abbreviation, but yeah, it's a project which is supposed to start next month or in 2 months' time with DFG funding and take place in 3 cities, so Berlin, Cardiff, and Athens. And it relates, maybe to unpack that complicated title, it relates to the issue of informality as it unfolds in the European context. So it very much relates to, let's say, reverse flows in theory making with lots of knowledge about informality in the context of so-called Global South. And the idea is how to think about our housing in the so-called global north while using some of the devices from the south, specifically distantiating ourselves from the perceptions of urban form and rather thinking about the processes which happen within what we see as very formal. So here we have an example of Berlin, Cardiff, and Athens, which are dissimilar cases, which manifest somehow differently the problematic that we want to look into, with Berlin being a relatively regulated environment in which phenomena such as subletting, illegal subletting, short-term renting are happening, and I guess in Hamburg as well, it's entirely a gray sphere of development which exists in parallel to official channels of getting housing. Cardiff is mostly about deregulated planning system. You see in here, for instance, a pod in a garden, which is somehow legal, but not entirely legal if you, for instance, put a bed inside of it. So now then it becomes illegal, but people still use it in their own ways. And Athens with a process of people lobbying one thing, people doing their own thing, and then post factum things usually being legalized. So we want to look into more deeply into this kind of problematic, from the perspective of policy environment, but also people agency, people power, and perhaps some influence on these processes on environmental aspect as well. Particularly in the context of Athens, when we would look at the rooftops with very interesting transformation of those spaces for housing purposes, but also energy generation, greening, and so on and so forth. So a bit about methods. So you can see those here, which is a combination of qualitative and spatial methods, for instance, biographies of buildings, a little bit tracing, mapping what's happening on a district scale, a mapping of those kind of extensions that happen in Cardiff, but also what happens in Athens. And in Berlin is more diving deeply into the phenomena. Oops, that's sorry, I forgot what I had here. This phenomena. And it it's supposed to have, of course, research component, but also some way be policy relevant, and then work of different quantitative methods which could measure all of those problematics. Yeah, that's it.